Okay, had a bunch of mic issues and camera issues, and now I'm back and we're trying again. Chapter 25. And he said and answered, and he answered and said to me, You too shall be preserved until that time in which the sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. This shall be the sign, when a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations, and again, when they shall fall into great torments. And it will come to pass, when they say in their thoughts, because of their great tribulation, the Mighty One no longer remembers the earth. Yes, it will come to pass when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. So I want to go back to verse 3, where it says, A stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and just read the definition of stupor. It's a state of reduced sensibility or consciousness, suspension or great diminution of sensibility, a state in which the faculties are deadened or dazed, torpidity of feeling. And the third one, intellectual insensibility. Boy, do we see that a lot. Dullness of perception or understanding. Mental or moral numbness. There is a lot of that happening right now. Definitely a sense of a spirit of stupor on people, generally, most people. What I was told a long time ago, a definition of stupor would be, or what you would feel if you were suffering from a spirit of stupor, is you would feel like you are swimming through mud, like your brain, your body is swimming through mud. So that would mean your senses were deadened, and things are just slow to happen, and things like that. Okay, I'm just going to read the really teeny tiny short chapters to 29, not all the way through 29, just to through verse 4, because there's something interesting in verse 4 that I wanted you to see. So, I'm going to carry on. Chapter 26. And I answered and said, Will the tribulation which is to come continue for a long time? And will that time of need take up many years? And he answered and said unto me, That time is divided into 12 parts, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part shall be the beginnings of commotions, and in the second part there shall be slayings of great ones, and in the third part many shall fall by death. In the fourth part there shall be the sending of the sword. In the fifth part there shall be famine and the withholding of rain. In the sixth part there shall be earthquakes. On number 4, where it talks about many shall fall by death, I know that the death rates are up across the board. There are some people that are reporting on this, but not mainstream media much. So I think it is very interesting. Like the reports from insurance companies are very telling of how much deaths are up right now, since the fake disease and the jabby jab. We won't say anything more than that because I'll probably get a strike, and hopefully I won't. Okay, also we know that there have been a lot of earthquakes lately, very recently. But I've been watching the earthquakes, I think since 2017, maybe. Maybe even before then with Dutch Sense. And I've just noticed that there is an increase in earthquakes. Just when he turns on his screen, there are so many points of earthquakes on his little globe earth that when I first started watching him weren't there. So that is very interesting. And verse 8, and in the seventh part there shall be terrors, And in the 8th part there shall be a multitude of specters and attacks by the demons. And in the 9th part there shall be the fall of fire. And in the 10th part there shall be violent theft and great oppression. And in the 12th part there shall be wickedness and unchastity. And in the 12th part there shall be confusion from the mingling together of all those things previously said. In my Sefer version, I think it is verse 11 where it says violent theft. It says rapine, R-A-P-I-N-E, and I had to look that up, and that is like someone seizing your land and taking your land away. So we have seen some of that already happening in Australia. I'm not aware of any other areas at this time. Oh, except for we do also know in Africa. And that was kind of a racial thing that was going on where the black folk took away white folks' property. So, verse 14, for these parts are of that time are reserved, and shall be mingled with one another, and shall minister to one another. For some shall leave out some of their own, and receive from others in its place, and some shall complete their own, and that of others, so that those who are on the earth in those days may not understand that this is the end of times. Chapter 28. Nevertheless, whoever understands shall be wise, for the measure and reckoning of that time are 2 parts a week of 7 weeks. What does that sound like? It sounds like what we've always been taught about the tribulation period being of 7 years and split in half, 3.5 years. So this also does agree with other scriptures. And in verse 3, and I answered and said, it is good for a man to come, and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall. But I will say this also, will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatever comes upon in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible. But if those things which you have told me in advance shall assuredly come to pass, O Lord, then show this to me also, if indeed I have found grace in your sight. Is it in one place, or in one of the parts of the earth, that those things have come to pass, or will the whole earth experience them? And he answered and said to me, whatever will come then will come upon the whole earth. Therefore all who live will experience them. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those same days in this land. And it shall come to pass, when all that was supposed to take place in those parts is accomplished, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed. And this is what I wanted you to hear. And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea, those 2 great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and have kept until that time, and then they shall be for food for all that are left. Okay, so let me read this a little bit. And the earth shall also yield its fruit 10,000-fold. And on each vine there shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster shall produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape shall produce a measure of wine. For those who have hungered shall rejoice. More than this, they shall also behold marvels every day. For winds shall go forth from before me to bring the fragrance of aromatic fruits every morning. That sounds great. And at the close of the day they shall bring clouds distilling the dew of health. And it shall come to pass at the same time that the treasury of manna shall again descend from on high, and they will eat of it in those years, because there are they who have come to the end of time. Excuse me, I've been ill and I'm still not perfect, but I'm better. Anyway, I really like this picture right here. I had a dream this last year, or like a flash or a vision, and I saw like a tree branch, and it had so many branches that it was almost like it looked very similar to a dandelion, how the dandelion has all those things spread out on top. once it turns to the seed stage where you blow on them. And so there was just this tree, and it just looked really, really odd because all of its branches were like, there were so many branches, and I couldn't figure out, what he was trying to tell me. And then I found this in Baruk, and I was like, whoa, he's talking to me about what he says here in Baruk. So this last bit that I just read really is full of much hope, and we can rejoice in that. If you caught in what we just read that the only ones that were going to be protected were the ones in the land, I wanted to show you that in chapter 32, there is hope for even you, but there's a catch. So let's read chapter 32, verse 1. Oh, gee whiz. But as for you, if you prepare your hearts so that you sow the fruits of the Torah, remember the first 5 books of the Bible, in them, so that you sow the fruits of the Torah in your heart, then it shall protect you when the Mighty One shakes the whole creation. So, if you want to be protected, guard the Torah and put it in your heart, sow it in your heart. There are so very many times all through scriptures where it talks about guarding the law or the Torah. We are told to guard it many, many times. So I just want to tell you, to guard also means to protect and keep. So keep the Torah. I know that's not what we've been taught, but I don't really care what we've been taught. We've not been taught truth. We've been taught falsehoods. So throw out these doctrines of demons and go back to the scriptures for yourself. Go back to the first 5 books that Yahweh gave to Moses on the mount and make sure that everything is in agreement with it. All right. That's all I have for now. I hope that you found the 2nd book of Baruk interesting enough that you want to pick it up and read it yourself. And I hope that you will not be afraid of the Apocrypha. There's so much great stuff in there for us. Read your Bible. Put the Torah in your heart. Bye-bye.